Hey guys, welcome back to my channel for an all new episode recap of today's Days of Our Lives, February 28, 2025. It is the last day of the month, and I'm so here for it because I'm ready for my month to start. My birthday is in 2 weeks, so I'm definitely excited. So let's get into this episode, right? So we start off with Holly and Maggie. So Maggie is asking Holly how did her Valentine's Day night went, and she said it went really well. So she was worried about that because she didn't get to message her that Doug was actually coming up there. So she wanted to know if Doug was in the way of that happening between her and Tate. So she said it didn't really, it wasn't really that bad because Tate was running late, and we were going through the poem book that his grandfather wrote for Julie, and it came awkward because Doug told me that he has feelings for me. So Maggie asked her how does she feel about that. So she said she didn't receive it back or return it back. Well, I guess reciprocate it back. So she, doesn't feel the same way about him, but it just really let her get taken aback, and it was a little bit awkward. So anyways, she said that she's with Tate, she loves him really much, and that was that. So speaking of Doug still can't help to think about when he told Holly that he had feelings for her, and he was telling her to forget about it, and she wasn't forgetting about it, so now he's still thinking about her and like whether or not anything is going to happen from that, right? So Julie comes over to interrupt his thoughts, and they're talking about the poem book, and Doug said he can't help but go over the inscription, and he likes the book and all that. So they began talking, and Julie said that a lot of material things doesn't matter to her no more, but that book and the ornaments and the family photo albums matter a lot. So she talked about the necklace, and of course Doug is feeling guilty about it, and he asked her if she felt like he was the one who stole the necklace because other people in the family think so. So she said, of course not, but you weren't in town as yet, and I don't think you would. And they talk about her brother, and she said that her brother swore on their grandparents' graves that he did not do it. So she really believes him. I mean, even though he had trouble back in the day with the law, she really believes that he would not do that. Like, he swore on his grandparents' grave that he wouldn't do it, and he wrote a letter saying how upset he was that Sierra and Lucas accused him of that. And he just is trying to say, what, I'm innocent about that, right? So Doug said, they talk about Senior Doug and how Senior Doug used to be in trouble with the law, but now he turned around and refined himself. So Junior Doug is saying, I hope to be that one day, and Julie has all faith that he can, but I don't know why he can't just come clean and tell Julie that, hey, I got mixed up in some trouble, I ended up selling a necklace and all of that, right? So I don't know why he's keeping it. I think Julie is very understanding, and being that she was with a man who used to be in trouble with the law, like, she could understand. And even her own brother had trouble with the law and refined himself, so she can definitely understand that everybody deserves a second chance. At some point, Holly did come over because he was still thinking about her at some point when Julie left, and she comes over, and that was really it because, there was no conversation as yet. So Johnny comes over to talk to his grandma Marlena. He has some bouquet of flowers. It's for Chanel because Chanel underwent a procedure to remove some cancerous cells, right? So he begins to talk to Marlena about, them going through, wanting to have another child, and, a lot of complications with that. So they're thinking about going through with adoption. So Marlena was concerned because they just got back on track. They had a rough patch, and Johnny understands, and Johnny said that, we are good now, we're stronger than ever. We've made it past the Alex and Joy mess, and, we really, before this all happened, we really were planning to expand our family, and, we actually went to kill, and, a lot of complications was happening with Chanel, and, at some point, we just said, what, we're going to just go a different route, and luckily, we have a couple that is willing to give up the baby for adoption. So he tells her that it's actually Tate and Sophia. So Marlena understands it because they're very young, and Chanel and Johnny are ready to start a family, and it would definitely make sense. So Johnny's hesitant because of Sophia's mom, and Sophia's mom wants a couple that has strong Christian values, and they don't know if they fit the bill. I mean, Chanel goes to church now and then, and he is they don't think that they could be a proper match. So they're just hoping that maybe something will add up. Chanel is in the other room. She just went through the procedure, and Paulina storms in, and Paulina is like, I went to your bakery, and the new girl told me that you were in the hospital. Like, why didn't you tell me? So of course she's freaking out. That's why she didn't tell you, Paulina. You don't know how to keep calm on the composure when these things happen. So anyway, Chanel said that she doesn't want to worry Paulina because it was a simple procedure. She was asking her if it's cancer cells and all that. So she said, I don't have cancer, it's just to remove them. It was a simple procedure. Kayla said that I'm gonna be fine, and I'm feeling fine. After everything that happened with the previous molar pregnancy, it was just a cautionary procedure to just get rid of whatever cells or scar tissue that was there. So she tells her mom about how Johnny and her wanted to start their family, but Kayla tells her that, the chance of another molar pregnancy is really high, and she doesn't want to go through that heartbreak. So they're thinking of going through another route, which is adoption. So Paulina is definitely hesitant about the adoption because, she went through that with Lonnie, giving her up for adoption at a young age. And, it definitely turned out, kind of complicated in the end when Lonnie found out the truth, and it was messy for a while. But it has its pros and cons, but she's here for Chanel being happy and whatever is safer for her, so she gave her blessings, right? So Chanel tells her that Sophia and Tate are willing to give up their baby for adoption, and Paulina has her reservations about it because of the familiarity of this, and that Tate and Johnny are cousins, and it could go differently. I mean, Sophia might want to be interested in raising her child, and they're wondering if it's gonna be smooth sailing. Sometimes these things bring complications. And earlier Marlena was asking Johnny about whether or not they're having open adoption, if Sophia and Tate are gonna be involved in some way in the baby's upbringing. So they didn't think about that as yet, but yeah, that's a lot to think about, because I'm saying the baby is gonna be kept in Salem. They're all gonna be in Salem. I'm sure there's gonna be some residual feelings from Sophia from carrying the baby, and then when you do have a child, like, you probably might have reservations. You probably might not want to go through the adoption. You probably might want to keep the child and really try to raise him or her. So it's definitely not a smooth sailing in any way. So speaking of Sophie and Tate, Tate checks in on her, how she's doing, and she said she's definitely fine. She's just taking some rest because of the cramps and all that. So anyways, he did tell her that he found a couple, his cousin Johnny and his wife Chanel. So he tells Sophia about it, and Sophia asked him if he told Holly when he was on the Valentine's Day trip, and he said yeah, he did. And he's sorry about not telling her first before Holly, because she felt a type of way about her knowing before her. But I said, I don't know. I don't see where the big deal is, because they're together. Like, that's going to be pillow talk. I mean, but I guess I understand where Sophia's coming from. So anyways, now they're thinking about whether or not Mrs. Choi is going to accept Johnny and Chanel. And I'm saying, yeah, that's a big thing, because if she's looking for a suitable couple that has strong Christian values, Johnny and Chanel are not really it. Chanel is, bi and all that. And, they're not really super religious. Johnny's affiliated with the Demira family, which, brings bad news mostly. So, I mean, how is that going to really go over? So anyways, Mrs. Choi comes over because she heard, them talking about her, if she would approve the couple. So they told her about the potential couple that want to adopt their baby. And then, Sophia starts to make up some lies about how they're involved in church, and how Chanel has a woman leaders group going on. And of course, Mrs. Joy is eating it up and saying like, okay, that's really good, because at first she was saying, are they a part of the Korean Baptist Church? So Tate is saying, they're not Korean, but they're part of the Baptist Church. So I don't know how this is going to work, because I don't see how, they will be, suitable. But at the end of the day, suitable for her. But at the end of the day, that should not, as Marlena said earlier, that should not be a factor in them being good parents, to raise the child. Like, should not discriminate against their religious beliefs. Like, that doesn't stop you from being a good parent. So anyways, Jenny and Chanel are there, and then they're coming back from the hospital, and she tells him about how Paulina came over, and she did take the news really well. So now, Chanel is just eager to find out if they're gonna be future parents. So Tate and Sophia comes over, and they said that, her mom wants to meet with them, have some dinner, see what they're about. So Johnny said, okay, yeah, let's set that up at our house and, all that. So Sophia said there's something that you should know. So I'm guessing that she's going to tell them that she actually, made up some lies to make them look suitable in Mrs. Choi's eye. But again, like, Mrs. Choi needs to kind of dial it down a peg, because she's saying that if they're not up to her standards, she's not going to give the grandbaby away. At the end of the day, yes, they're teenagers, yes, they're minors, but at the end of the day, they should have some kind of decision in how this baby's gonna, who this baby's gonna go to, right? Because John and Chanel are not perfect. Nobody's perfect, not even Mrs. Choi. And, that doesn't stop them from being ultimate parents. What should matter is that the child is growing up in a stable home and they can provide for him or her. So that should be important. Like, yes, they should have good moral values and all of that, but like, come on now, the religion should not be a big factor. But that's it, guys. That's it for today's episode. Comment below your thoughts on today's episode. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see you guys next week for all new episode recaps. Have an awesome weekend. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe.